What up, what up, what up? You are now locked into the Alumni Podcast. If you're joining us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and also tap that bell if you haven't already to be notified when we drop new content. We are also on the Anchor app. So if you want to listen to us and download the podcast, please download the Anchor app. I am your host, Ken KB Supreme, and joining me as always, my lovely bride, Queen V. What up, Queen?
Hey, family.
So, Queen, how was your day?
It was all right, a little busy, but it was okay. How was your day?
My day was good. I had the day off. I got to take care of a lot of business. Also gotten some much needed rest and recovery from the weekend. So it was all good.
That's good. I was hating on you a little bit this morning as I was getting dressed and you was still in the bed, but it's a well-deserved day off.
All right, don't be telling my business all out there, everybody. All right, so Queen, I was doing some thinking today.
Okay, about what?
I was thinking about things from my past, right?
Okay.
And it kind of led me into this segment that I want to do.
Okay, what is that?
And it's called On Site.
Okay, sounds interesting.
So you know how the young folks say that you did something to me, so bro, when I see you, it's on site.
Okay.
Like we got to shoot the fair one on site because of something you did back in the day, right?
Right.
And so I was thinking about an incident that happened to me back in the day that I'm still kind of salty about.
All right, tell me about it.
And I will. And the person that's involved in this incident is one of my old Navy buddies, right?
Okay.
Still my guy to this day. But because of that incident that happened way back when, unfortunately, when I see him again, even though we gonna be cool and probably shake it up afterward, when I see him again, it's on site.
Okay.
Okay. So the story goes like this. You ready?
I'm ready.
Breaking news. Okay. So I was stationed on the USS Kitty Hawk back in, I would say, about 2004.
Okay.
2003, 2004. Stationed on the USS Kitty Hawk in Yokosuka, Japan, right? And I had one of my good buddies. He was part of my work center. His name was Eric. I won't say his last name, but if Eric is somehow listening to the story, he can identify himself in the story. All right.
Okay.
And also the people in our work center can identify who I'm talking about, right?
Right.
So I was an E5 at the time, and I was on duty, and the duty of the day required me to have berthing duty where I had to ensure that our berthing was clean. I was in our division. And I remember when I was cleaning up the berthing, I was at this time in the bathroom cleaning up the bathroom. You know, actually I was just supervising. I had some of my younger sailors, the junior sailors, cleaning the bathroom, or the head that we call it on the boat. So I recall Eric coming in, and Eric's one of my partners. He's in my work center. We share the same rank. So I said, Eric asked me, "Hey Ken, can I use the restroom? Can I use the head?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's my boy. Come on in, man. I got you, right?" We in the middle of cleaning stations, right? He ain't supposed to do it, but he my boy, so come on in and use the head.
Okay.
So Eric comes in and uses the head, and to my surprise, Eric, it wasn't in and out. So basically, Eric was, with those with poor stomachs, I'm sorry, but Eric was in the bathroom taking a fair one, right?
Okay.
Okay. So Eric is in the bathroom taking a fair one on the head, taking a fair one, and we're cleaning up the head. So Eric, when he comes out of the stall, Eric is appreciative of me for allowing him to come use the head during cleaning stations, which we didn't have to.
Right.
So as I'm turned around, Eric comes up to me and says, "Can I appreciate it?" Boom, and slaps me on my left shoulder with his right hand. Now, I didn't realize until later on in life,
Oh, wow.
Eric is right-handed.
Right.
So the hand that Eric touched me with,
That's nasty.
Eric, you my guy, but when I see you, bruh, we shooting a fair one on sight for that. I mean, I still get twitches nowadays thinking about this man just cleaned his bottom and then touched me
That's disgusting.
before he washed his hands.
That's nasty.
Eric, we shooting a fair one on site.
Well, maybe he just was really appreciative and he just, walked out. Thank you. It's still nasty.
Nah, bro. We shooting a fair one on site, Eric. On site, bro. So, Queen, do you have a story that you want to share about somebody that you possibly got some unfinished business with that you go catch on site?
I sure do.
Okay,
And this beef is about maybe 21 years old.
right. 21 years old.
21 years.
That's a long time to be holding a grudge.
Oh, it is.
Okay,
I understand that.
tell me about it.
So, early in my Navy days, I had a roommate and we made friends with this other female. And so we used to just hang out and kick it sometimes. And once or twice, she may have watched my child and my roommate's child. And it was never an issue with, no, am I going to pay you? I would give her money if she needed it, or we would cook for each other, invite her over. So there's one particular time I never made the agreement, okay, if you watch her, that I'll pay you, I forgot where I was going, but it wasn't anywhere where it's a long extended period of time.
Right.
So she came by the next day and was like, hey, you have my money. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't owe you no money. Maybe you made the agreement with my roommate.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was standing in my doorway of my bedroom, and I was sitting on the bed, and I had my jewelry on the dresser. So she reached over and like, I'm just going to take this as payment. And it was a necklace, a gold necklace with a cross on it.
Ooh.
So I jumped up and like, no, you're not. So she was a big girl, and prior to me having other kids in my young Navy days, I was still real tiny and slim. This is a big old girl. It just imagine Andre the Giant against one of the divas. That's how I'm gonna put it, how she was. So I jumped up, tried to grab my necklace back, and I couldn't get it. And she pushed me and I pushed her. We were scrapping for a minute. My roommate came and broke us up, and she left out the house with my necklace. And I never got it back. And I always would try to find her and be like, oh, I'm going to get this girl if I got to run her down, run her over. But that was 21 years ago. So she knows who she is. I ain't got to mention her name, but on site, you're going to give me my necklace.
She ain't do you like Debo did Red, did she?
Oh, no. It was none of that.
Like my chain.
No, it was none of that. Wasn't no crime. I was scrapping till my roommate broke us up, and I was kind of mad at her, too.
But she got away with your necklace.
She did.
Okay, now that necklace has probably been passed down to her daughter.
You know what? I'm just getting more mad even thinking about it. But you know who you are on site.
On site. All right. So we're going to go into our next segment. We're going to ask our first question of the day, right?
Right.
Okay. So the first question of the day is, and we're talking about married folks here, right?
Right.
Is it okay for married folks to have separate bank accounts?
I think it is, because maybe they came into the relationship with separate accounts already.
Mm-hmm.
And I think times are different now than they probably were when our grandparents or great-grandparents maybe got married.
Right.
Although most of the women in my family have always had their own separate accounts, and they've had joint accounts together with their spouse or husband while they're still maintaining their separate accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as there aren't any like arguments about money, any secrets about the money or spending, then it should not be a problem. Mm-hmm. And I just think that it's probably more acceptable because, like I said, both were independent, had their own accounts, had their own lives before they joined into the marriage. Mm-hmm. And so as long as you both agree, okay, I had this account, you have your account. If we need something, that we should be able to pay the bills together. I should be able to come to you as my husband if I need anything, and vice versa, and it shouldn't be an issue. So as long as there are no secrets about the money, I don't think it's a problem.
Okay. What about people that say it's a sign of distrust, or it's a sign of individuality in the marriage when you have separate accounts?
I think that's just personal opinions or perceptions. Like
Mm-hmm.
I said, it's really up to those two people if they're going to agree to have separate accounts or agree to have joint accounts.
Right.
And what I've noticed from what I've either read or seen personally, many marriages that do have joint accounts, they have the most issues, because when you're checking to see, oh, I thought we had this, but you spent it and you didn't tell me, then I think that brings more issues. If you're going to have a joint account, you need to be up front from the beginning, like no matter who brings in what,
Mm-hmm.
the bills are paid, I need to pay this, you need to pay that, or I want to go to dinner, or I want to go to lunch, or I want to go shopping, I think everything has to be upfront so there's no surprises.
Right, right.
So how do you feel?
Well, I feel that I think like you said, we're living in different times now. And so would I prefer to have joint account? Yes.
Okay.
But I do understand people that don't have joint accounts.
Okay.
Simply because, like, for instance, we come into a marriage and you're banking with a particular bank because that's the bank that you've banked with your entire life. That's the bank that you started your military career with.
Okay.
Me, I come in with another bank. Let's say if I bank with USAA and you bank with Navy Federal Credit Union. I bank with a particular bank because maybe the bank that you bank with, I don't have a good relationship with, or I don't particularly care for their way of banking.
Okay.
I have loyalty to my bank because that's the bank that I came into the Navy banking with. That's the bank that gave me a loan for my wedding and my car loan, and I've had my first credit card through and things like that. And so I understand it, like having separate accounts, because you may trust one bank and your spouse may have another bank, and then you still have a joint account, but you still keep that relationship with your old bank. So I get it. So again, I mean, I don't see a problem with it, but I also don't see a problem with people who say, I would rather have a joint account. In our marriage, we don't need separate accounts. So I'm okay with both sides. I don't really think there's any wrong answer there.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I did want to ask you another question. Let's say if you do have kind of two separate accounts, right?
Right.
You have both parties in the marriage working. And let's say, and we'll personalize it for a second, right?
Okay.
Let's say if I have a hobby that I'm into, right? And I'm investing a lot of money into this particular hobby, and the return on my investment is minimum to none.
Okay.
Yet, but I'm continually pouring out a large portion of my salary toward this hobby. When do you as a wife come to me and tell me we need to cease and desist investing in this particular thing because it's affecting us financially, but again, facing that hardship of knowing that I may take it as you're not supporting my dream?
Okay. I think that you are deserving of hobbies, or you work hard, you want to spend your money on other things, you have that right, as long as our bills are paid, as long as we're not struggling to make ends meet, as long as the girls are taken care of, we have food, like I said, our bills are paid. But even if all our bills are paid and that's not an issue, and I keep seeing that this hobby is kind of draining your finances or draining what could be a savings or a nest egg for either you or for us, then I think I'd have to have that hard conversation, and I just have to deal with the brunt of whatever the backlash. And I would say, in the nicest way possible, honey, I understand that you like this hobby, but I'm seeing over time the return on your investment is really not increasing. So at what point do you think that you can cut back some? I would phrase it that way and just see what your reaction would be. And then if I had to have, the hard conversation, or essentially say, okay, I'm putting my foot down, I really would like for you to stop. Then I think I would have to say that and just have to deal with whatever you would say back to me. And we just have to talk about it. Agree to disagree, or I don't think that if I brought anything to you and I really voiced my concerns and let you know, I don't think that you would be unreasonable and not listen, and vice versa.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like, first, I think before anybody in a relationship invest in any hobby, I think that you have to be financially stable first.
Right.
Meaning that it can't interfere with your bills, feeding your family, making sure you have emergency funds put away.
Right.
And then I think that for any hobby, like for instance, we're doing this podcast, it took for me to invest in equipment for us to have the right equipment to do a podcast and have somewhat of a professional sound, right?
Right.
So I had to put money away that would go strictly toward this investment.
Correct.
And it had to be a small portion that had to build over time for me to invest in this, where it was completely away from what I need to do as far as bills, savings, and general household goods and stuff like that.
Right.
And also away from emergency fund money.
Right.
So I think that it takes proper planning to invest in a hobby. You shouldn't take the bulk of your salary and invest in a hobby. And I think it's also okay for a spouse to say, hey, it's time to grow up and let this go. Like it's okay to say that if you see it's not. Then again, sometimes it takes a long time of grinding and working. So I think that you have to give that person, and you have to also see that person's dedication.
Right.
And if they're putting in the work, if they're just buying the stuff and it's just sitting there and they're not doing nothing with it, but yet they continually investing in it, it's like, okay, bro, it's time to change up the game plan right now and cease and desist on this. So
I agree.
I get it. All right. So Queen V, I was thinking about trust.
Okay. What about trust?
I was thinking about people that I trust and people that I don't trust.
Okay.
Have you ever had a situation? Because you know how people say, I'll trust you until you betray my trust, right?
Right.
Do you ever have a group of people that you don't trust off the back, like you don't give the benefit of the doubt to, and you say, I don't trust you, but you have to earn my trust through time instead of the other way around?
Yes.
Okay. I have a few of those people that I don't trust.
Okay.
I made up kind of a list of people that I don't trust.
Okay.
Okay. And I want to share that with you. Do you have a list of kind of people you don't trust?
Maybe about one or two.
One or two? Okay. So I'll share mine, and then you share yours.
Okay.
Okay. So these are the people that off the bat I don't trust. You got to earn my trust. Okay. This is not saying that I won't trust you through some period of time, but it's saying that I don't trust you off the bat. You have to earn my trust.
Okay.
Okay. So first type of person I do not trust is people who say, well, the Lord told me to tell you this.
Okay.
You want me to tell you why I don't trust those type
Yes,
of people?
please tell me
Because I
why.
think they're master manipulators.
Really?
I think that they preference that saying, so whatever they speak over you, you can't question.
Okay.
Like, the Lord told me to tell you this. And they know that you're amped not to question what they say, because you might feel like you're questioning the Lord.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
So I don't trust those people. I think those type of people are master manipulators, and you got to earn people's trust. If you come up to me and you say, well, the Lord told me to tell you, hey, bro, you need to carry that on somewhere up the street somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Don't hit me with that. Okay.
Okay.
Especially if you don't know me. Like, why would God tell you something about me and not tell me something about me?
Amen.
I'm just saying, I don't trust those type of people. All right. The second type of person I do not trust.
Okay.
And this is particularly dealing with your food, okay? I don't trust people that have a messy work area or junky cars.
Okay.
Like, I can't eat your food if you got a messy work area or your car is junky. Like, you know, I work with a lot of people and we have a lot of events like potlucks and stuff like that. If I come to your office and your office is trashed, I ain't eating none of your stuff at the potluck. I'm just being serious with you. Don't offer it to me, because I'm going to be rude about it. Like, I'm not eating. If you got a junky car and you got McDonald's. Now, there's a difference between kid having junky
Right.
to you got old 3-year McDonald's cups and garbage and food wrappings and stuff like that. And
Yeah, that's
like
nasty.
old sneakers and stuff like that. Like, I ain't eating none of your stuff, right?
Right.
Because if your office is junky and your car is junky, your house is junky. If your house is junky, the pan that you made that casserole in is dirty and nasty. I ain't eating your food. It's just point blank, blank, plain and simple like that.
Okay.
All right. I don't trust people like that.
Okay.
3. I don't trust people who are employed with pyramid scheme companies. Like, that stuff ruins friendships, man.
Yes, it does. Because people get mad if you don't want to buy into it.
Yeah, like it's like you don't, it make you not even want to answer people. Like, people you known for a long time. Like, they invite you over for dinner. You think it's all good, and boom, they pulling out pamphlets and stuff and going through a whole hour. I used to, like, and I ain't gonna hate, because I worked for a company like this before, and I hated it because they send you after your friends and your family.
Right.
And you betray their trust, right? And then you become that person that nobody wants to pick up the phone for, or people don't want to call because they know the minute they call you trying to sell them something, and all you trying to do is kick it. So I don't trust people that are employed with pyramid scheme companies.
Okay.
And the people that, and the sad part about it is some people are employed with those things and don't even know it, or they in denial of it.
Right.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't trust those type of people. All right.
Okay.
And last, and this is kind of honorable mention, right?
Okay.
And I'm not gonna say I don't trust these type of people, but I'm skeptical. So I won't say I don't trust them.
Okay.
But let's just say I keep one eye open.
Okay.
Okay. People that eat Shipley's donuts, right? If you eat Shipley's donuts, you'll eat your own young.
Oh my gosh. You're going to get us banned from the state of Texas.
Hey, look, I'm sorry, man. People who eat Shipley's donuts are heathens. And I've been trying to get some people that I know and I love and that are family to stop eating this garbage, this filth, to remove it completely from their diet. And I'm trying to bring them to the high class, the business class side of donuts, and get them out of the coach side.
Okay, so what's the business or the elite?
Oh,
donut?
Crispy, of course. Crispy, of course, is the upper echelon of donut. Right. If you want to go to the Section 8 basement,
you were so
of donut,
you were so wrong.
you go to Shipley's. If you want to go to the high class penthouse,
oh wow,
you go to Krispy Kreme. So I ain't gonna say I don't trust them. I'm not saying I don't trust them. I'm just saying something funny about you. You'll eat your own young. Something wrong about you about there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness.
People eat Shipley's donuts. Ugh, disgusting. Ought to be ashamed of yourselves.
Yes, indeed.
All right, so Queen V, what you got for me?
So I only can think of maybe 2 people that I they have to earn my trust.
Okay.
So the first group is if you are a beautician, a stylist, or a barber, that your hair or your appearance is always a mess.
Right.
I will not give you my money for your services. You are a walking advertising billboard for your craft,
right,
for your God-given talent. And I understand we all have off days, but if you are consistently looking a mess, but you're providing a service to help other people look better, you can't get my money. I can't. I don't know if I could trust you. So that's one.
Okay.
The second group, I know I might get a lot of flack from different people here. If you're cooking and you don't wash or rinse your meat before cooking it, I don't know if I can trust you. So some people do, some people don't. And I know people go back and forth, and there's things on the internet or in the news or from the USDA or CDC saying you should not wash your meat. But if meat is coming out of a factory or a deli or a slaughterhouse, you don't know where people's hands been, or if they use different chemicals to preserve the meat, whether it's chicken, beef, pork. Rinse your meat in water. Some people do lemon juice or vinegar. I do rinse them with water and a little bit of lemon juice before I cook it.
Okay.
Because I don't want my family to get sick. So if I'm over your house or knowing that you prepare your meat without rinsing it or preparing it properly, I'm not going to eat your food. I can't trust you.
Yeah, them Shipley donuts eating jokers that don't wash their
I did
meat.
not say that.
Hey, have you ever seen that video where the dude was washing his chicken with Dawn dish detergent and
Okay,
stuff?
that's not what I'm talking about. You do not, by any means, wash your meat with dish detergent. You can rinse it off after you get it out of the pack from the grocery store, or if you go to a meat market or a deli, or like I said, vinegar, whether it's white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, or even lemon juice.
Mm-hmm.
But by no means should you wash your meat with dish detergent.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to go into our last segment.
Okay.
What's your beef?
What's your beef?
Okay, so Lady V, as always, I'll give you the opportunity to go first, or would you like me to go first?
I would like you to go first this time.
Okay. So my beef is people who go to the extreme in order to validate their point.
Okay.
So, for instance, let's say if you and I are having a conversation, you know how I feel about, for instance, and I'm not going to get into any social type conversation, but you know how I feel about when it comes to, for say, abortion, how I think that the man should have somewhat of a say so.
Okay.
That's just my personal idea.
Okay.
When I argue that for somebody to go to the extreme who's against a man having any say so when it comes to a mother having an abortion, they'll say, well, what about if some guy raped your daughter? Should that guy be able to have a say so on whether your daughter has an abortion? And it's just like, why do you need to go to this mass extreme in order to validate your point?
Right.
And that's what irritates me, is that some people will go to the most crazy extreme in order to validate their point. And it's just like no, like I can refute you and go to an extreme, but I'm not. Like, how many cases, I mean, even though that may happen a lot, but is that the case in the majority of cases of abortion cases? No. And so that's just kind of how I feel with any situation, is somebody who has to go to the extreme in order to validate a point, when you're just like, I'm having a plain basic conversation and I'm arguing a point that I'm standing on this side, or whether it be sports. Like if you say that, yeah, the Eagles won a Super Bowl. Well, if Coach Belichick would have played Malcolm Butler and such would have did this and that, I don't want to hear about what ifs, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Talk to me about what happened.
Okay.
Like, don't go to an extreme to validate, well, this guy is the best quarterback because if this and this and this happened, and if such and such didn't do this, and if this didn't happen. Like, don't be going to extremes to try to validate your point. Talk to me about what happened or what is most likely to happen.
Okay.
And that's my beef.
Okay.
All right, so Queen V, what is your beef?
My beef is with negative people, and negative people who are consistently negative about everything, and then they try to get others to agree with their negativity. Like, life is too short. I understand you have good days and you have bad days, but if every day of your life is bad or negative, then you need to reevaluate yourself. Or maybe the common denominator is you, is not everybody else. Like, I get that sometimes your work situation is not ideal, or maybe personal situations are not ideal. But if every time you come around, you're always negative and other people are dodging you because they don't want to talk to you, or they don't want you to bring them down because you're draining or sucking the life out of them, you need to reevaluate yourself. I can't. Like, I try to be positive around some people, but if they're constantly negative, I have to remove myself from the situation, because I don't want their negativity to just rain down on me and essentially cover me to where I start to be negative and I start to have a bad outlook, when it's not my energy, it's their energy that's draining. So I can't. That's my beef. I can't with negative people. Like you have to find something positive, or try to accept positivity or a different outlook from people who try to make a spin on what you perceive as negative. And then if you can't do that and you're consistently trying to prove or argue your point, like no, it's this, and you just disgruntled and mad with the world, I just can't. I can't talk to them.
Okay. All right. Oh, sounds like a plan. So, do you have before we leave? Do you have a positive word for the people?
I do. I have a positive. It's actually a positive quote, and I saw it today on Facebook, and I absolutely agree. And I like this one. It says, "Marry a man that will waste your lipstick, not your mascara." And I think that speaks for itself.
Say that again.
Marry a man that will waste your lipstick, not your mascara. Essentially, he's wasting your lipstick. He's showing you love. He cares about you. He's gonna, you put your lipstick on, but he's still gonna embrace you. Give you a kiss, show you love and affection. Versus mascara runs when it's wet when you're crying.
Right.
So marry a man that will waste your lipstick, not your mascara.
I like that. I like that right
too.
there. Who you connected to? You be getting all these.
I have my female superwoman friends that post a lot of good things.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Hey, we want to thank you, Alumni family, for joining us for episode 6 of the Alumni Podcast.
Yes, thank y'all for joining us, listening, and subscribing. And thanks so much for the feedback.
All right. We appreciate y'all. Take it easy, Alumni family.